Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters Encounters video. Well, here are two more stories associated with some scary and creepy Skinwalker encounters that I'll highlight here. As always, they come from the reddit.com website. They're from the subreddit called Skinwalkers, and I'll give my own thoughts and opinions on them afterward. The first one comes from a user by the name of Pilot Fives, and they have a very interesting title. They titled it, "Did We Hit a Skinwalker?" And then the next one comes from a user called Skim6139, and they titled theirs as "I think I saw a Skinwalker as a kid." Again, fascinating stuff. So let's go ahead and let's share this information here, and then I'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are on them afterward. So again, the first one, Pilot Fives, "Did we hit a Skinwalker?" Here's what they state. Here's some backstory. So me and my cousin just got back from a trip out of our state. We had about a 2.5 hour drive from the airport, and we also live in the middle of nowhere in Wyoming. So let's get this started. So we landed at around 2230 hours, that's about 10:30, and we decided to just drive during the night. So we had a 2.5 hour drive ahead of us, and as we were driving, we were talking about some of the recent events in the world. We had somehow gotten off topic on the world of natives, which ended us talking about skinwalkers. And this made it worse because as we were driving, this was through the native land. I also felt like I was being watched, which is not the best feeling in the world, driving around 80 miles per hour in the middle of nowhere. And it's like there was a house, but it was every 50 or so miles. And so I was already feeling off, but we were still talking about it and just like how scary they would be to see in real life and everything. And so as we were driving down this back road, I know very smart, after talking about all of it, involving the world of skinwalkers. And as we were still talking about them, this deer just came out of nowhere and we had to slam on our brakes, but we still hit this deer. At least that's what we would like to think it was. We only hit it going like 10 miles an hour, so we stopped so we could check the damage. Luckily, there was none. So then we got to make sure that the deer was all right, but it didn't want it to be on the side of the road suffering after we hit it. We didn't want it to be on the side of the road. And so we only had our phone lights, which didn't provide very good flashlights, but they still worked. And as we got to where we hit this deer, there was this growl. With our wimpy little phone lights, we looked towards the sound. We didn't see anything. And as we were going back to the car and as we were leaving to go back, that's when we heard this heavy type of footstep that we thought was jumping over a barbed wire fence. We didn't stay. We ran back to the car and took off, not looking back, but felt like we were always being watched, at least for the last hour of our drive. And then that's it. That's everything that this user stated, Pilot Fives, with regards to their encounter. So let's talk about that briefly. For starters, interesting that it took place in Wyoming. Some of you that live there in Wyoming, let me know. Is it truly part of the native land, as the user called it? I'm sure they were referring instead to the Native American land. Let me know if that stretches out to that type of area. And sure enough, middle of nowhere. Once again, I mentioned that so many times in so many past videos, the idea that these things definitely love being out there in the middle of nowhere as opposed to, let's say, in the middle of a robust city. But there they were driving about one house like every 50 miles or so, as he was stating. And then, bam, by sheer coincidence, talking about it, thinking about it, all of a sudden it led to this deer being hit. And then when that happened, of course, they stopped to check things out. And then that's when they heard that telltale growl. Not only that, but they didn't find that deer either. And so when this happened, they decided to get the heck out of there. Was it a skinwalker? Interesting to see if it was. Kind of hard. It's kind of like 50-50 on my end. Obviously, deer love going out into traffic, like in this case in the middle of nowhere, and you always hear about those unfortunate circumstances of cars hitting deers, and a lot of times, especially here in Texas in the rural areas, you'll see the carcasses of the deers that were hit just laying by down the road. So the chance that this was a normal deer is pretty good. But at the same time, the fact that it happened right when they were talking and thinking about skinwalkers, and they happened to be going in the middle of the night, middle of nowhere in this Native American land, too much of a coincidence too. And then of course hearing that growl and then thinking that there was something always looking at them, and then something heavy jumping over the fence, that leans more towards it being a skinwalker. But those of you that are out there, let me know if you live in the Wyoming area, how frequent this stuff is, the idea and the legends associated with the skinwalker. Now, the next one, again, comes from the user Skim6139, and they titled theirs, "I think I saw a skinwalker as a kid." It's a little bit shorter story, but here's what they state. "Okay, so when I was a kid, there was a golf course behind my backyard gate, and sometimes coyotes are spotted in the area in packs. So I remember waking up one night because I heard something bang in the backyard. I opened up my blinds to look out and see nothing at all but a group of coyotes. I didn't think much of it, and well, I got back into my bed, and that's when I heard some loud rustling, like multiple animals were running around. And so at this point, I was so fed up with it, I went to grab my flashlight and turned it on, hoping I could at least get them out of my backyard. And so I see the pack run away by slipping through the gates. Definitely should have had at least those gates blocked. But the thing that scared the hell out of me that night was what I caught a glimpse of. As I turned my flashlight off, I quickly see a thing I can't even describe. It looked skinny, human, hunched over on all fours, but it kind of resembled a large dog. I didn't think much of it at the time because I was 10 and it was pretty tiring there in the morning. And as I let my dog out, I could see a bright red spot in the backyard right where I saw it. I know it sounds fake, but I know what I saw. I can still feel like it's even watching me now. Can anyone confirm if this was a skinwalker?" And then that's it. That's everything that they stated in their short entry. So interesting that this happened on a golf course behind that person's backyard. They were a kid at the time. They happened to be up late at night, or something was causing them to be staying up late at night, all that rustling. And then that's when they grabbed a flashlight and turned it on. And then that's when they saw that almost inhuman thing. Whatever it was, this skinny human that looked like a dog, but it was hunched over and it was on all fours, and there it was scrambling away and then going towards an area that would have normally been a locked gate. I mean, talk about a freaky encounter. Being 10 years old and then seeing something like that, clearly that would definitely make a memorable experience. But the fact that he saw it, and then now apparently this thing, as they stated, it feels like it's still watching them to this day. That's pretty interesting stuff. I wish they would have posted more information about the legends associated with that location. Like, was it there because of the land, or was it there because of the family? I mentioned that in some of the other stories that I've posted here, how people stated that they had some old family relative that had a run-in with skinwalkers, and then they just ended up plaguing that location ever since. So unfortunately that's left up in the air, but that's another possibility there. No mention though about where this occurred, not like the other story involving Wyoming. But that's pretty much it. If anyone has any more info, anything else I might have missed, then please post those comments below. All right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.